What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gaming Without Parole. Sitting across from me this week, and every week, the Fred Savage to my Candace Cameron, Desra.
Wow. It's just,
I had something else planned. I changed it last
Yeah,
minute.
I know. It's just suddenly derailing. And sitting across from me, of course, is Brian Paul.
Hey, what's going on? Des, this is a very special episode for me and you.
A very special episode.
That's the Candace Cameron reference. Yeah. No, we're triple digits.
Yay!
It's our big over-the-hill birthday.
Yeah, it's triple digits, and so it's 100 episodes of Gaming Without Parole. And I think we figured out this is about a year for me.
About a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think we just missed your anniversary.
Yep. Hey, the Desiversary.
I don't think that's a thing.
Okay, it is now.
No.
God damn it.
So we decided to do something a little bit different.
Shocking.
First and foremost, we wanted to throw out a question to the community. Since day one, Gaming Without Parole has been the flagship title of Without Parole Games, the flagship podcast. Yeah. And so it's like it meant something at some point, but the meaning has kind of been lost over time.
Okay.
And now it's just confusing now.
That is true. The whole Without Parole Games and Gaming Without Parole, which is the show, which is the channel, what's going to be on the t-shirt.
Exactly. So we're going to put it out there to the community. We're going to do a little thinking amongst ourselves. We're thinking about renaming the show. Nice.
Sorry.
It was good Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have any ideas about what the show should be called, and remember, you have no ownership over the title once you submit it to us. Yes. Legally binding. We said it here. Des is my lawyer. He approves.
I am not.
This message.
I don't.
Yes, indeed.
But yes, basically, if you submit anything to us, look, this is something we're doing for fun. If money does get involved at some point, it's not that we're trying to screw anybody over. It's just we don't have money for lawyers and things like that. So don't hurt us. Yeah,
we want this to be fun, but we also want to make sure we all understand what's going on here.
Right.
You give us a name. It's our name. We own it. That's what I do with puppies at the park. I'm like, hey, can I see your puppy? They're like, here you go. I'm like,
Mine.
Run away.
My puppy.
Yeah, adorable.
That's not how you pet puppies. But
I have 17 puppies.
Do we have a topic this week?
I got to stop going to the park. So we are mixing things up.
Yeah.
This week, usually what we do here on Gaming Without Parole, or whatever it'll be called in the future, we pick a game. We discuss it at length, ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Until we're both sick and tired and it's time to go home. Yeah,
and typically the past couple months we've been stuck to launch titles or very, very early in the cycle for the PSVR because we thought there were some games that just have gotten lost in the shuffle, and we want to concentrate on those. But now we're
all over the place now.
Yeah. We're really kind of using this to free ourselves up to talk about games. We still may talk about some earlier games. We may talk about some newer, fresher, the new hotness sort of things. But for this episode specifically, we decided let's talk about what we're excited to see in the future.
Yeah, and we're kind of going back to our old format. We both picked a couple games. Mm-hmm. We both have a couple honorable mentions.
Yeah.
And we're just going to kind of drag you through one by one.
Woohoo! Kicking and screaming into the future with us.
Yeah. These are the games we're most looking forward to for PlayStation VR. Don't worry. No matter how much we change the format, all PlayStation VR.
All the time.
All the time.
So 24 hours a day.
Oh, God. Is that a thing? I'm tired.
Okay.
Des, would you like to take us away with the very first game of the future?
Yeah. So this is a game that's actually, I think has been kind of mentioned in the past. This was one that was featured actually when a certain special guest came and did the Midnight Games cast. It was on PlayStation VR Theater. And that, of course, is Spark.
Were you the special guest?
I was a special guest.
Oh, I was like, I don't think we have special guests on that show very often.
No, the episode I guested on, this was one of the videos, one of the trailers we saw. And at the time, it was like, okay, the graphics look a little bare, but I think I kind of like what they're doing with this. For those of you who don't know, Spark is, it's produced by CCP. Those are the folks who made EVE Online and Valkyrie. And this will be their first non-EVE game. It's what they're calling a V-sport or a virtual sport. Yeah.
Is that I don't want to bring this up if we don't have to. Is that any relation to an esport?
I think it is, but they don't want to say that because they're trying to throw their own spin on it, their own brand on it.
All
but
right.
yeah,
That's fair.
yeah. And this is kind of why I wanted to bring this one up. I mean, this game, I think graphically, it's seen some huge improvements since that first teaser we saw. The character model is a little more fleshed out. They say they're going to be totally customizable as well. So you're going to, unlike, let's say, Smashbox Arena, where you have one of 6 different awful options.
Yeah, it's like just ugly heads lined up in a row.
Yeah. I love the game graphically ish, but you'll be able to totally characterize your customer, customize your character.
Sweet.
And the gameplay itself, it's not entirely clear. It's some kind of battle by throwing the balls back and forth and blocking them. I just really, really am enamored of the idea of getting very physical with a video game. I've been playing a lot of Super Hot lately. Check recent episodes to talk about that.
Last episode,
yes. And I'm just really, I don't know, I just like the idea of getting in a video game, but also letting you, do physical things, and actually compete against a real person in real time somewhere else in the world. I really like this idea. I don't know if this is going to be the winner, but yeah, very excited.
The winner.
Well, as far as like, this is going to be the one that's going to break, VR gaming into the mainstream.
Gotcha.
And I think, esports, I'm going to use that term, in general, hugely popular among a very, very small slice of the population.
Yep.
And, most mainstream folks have no idea that there is even, these multi-$1,000 pots available of these esports competitions. I think something like Spark, where there is actually a physical element to it, may be the thing that kind of gets that out into the mainstream. And if that works and you get the popularity of an esport coupled with VR, that's going to be great for us.
So there's I guess at this point I've definitely been known to say some bad things about Spark.
Yeah.
And it's not because I've tried it, because I haven't. And it's not because I'm against the concept of the game, because I'm not. But what I am concerned about is the simplicity of how the game looks.
Sure.
It looks like you're throwing a ball back and forth at an opponent, and you have a shield, and you stand in the same corridor forever.
Right.
Why should I be interested, despite the fact that it looks like? And do we have a price for this by any chance?
I did not get the price for it.
I could be wrong, so maybe I'll have to edit this out. But I want to say this is like a $30 game.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And for games like we love Smashbox Arena, right? And it looks horrible. Yeah. And for $30, it's really hard to convince somebody to go, hey, take a risk.
Yeah.
Right? Because Smashbox, I didn't really want to play it. And then I did, and then I was like, everyone should play it, because as soon as you get in and you feel the mechanics for yourself, it's amazing.
Right.
And it's like, oh my god, this is the first time I've actually enjoyed dodgeball in my entire life.
Right.
So like this might be the case for Spark, but at the $30 price point, yet again with the simplistic look of it in the bare bones of the sport that they've created.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned that it's going to be tough. It's going to be another tough sell, just like Smashbox.
Yeah, I will say, in contrast to that, tennis is also a pretty simple sport. But once you start playing it, you realize there's a lot of complexity and depth to what you're actually doing. Again, I haven't played this yet either. This is a totally theoretical discussion. Yeah. But I think Smashbox is a perfect example. If I just showed it to you or showed you people playing it, like, oh, that's dumb. But the second you start playing it, it's like, oh, this is a blast. There's a whole lot more depth and complexity in this very seemingly simple setup. So, maybe we're going to have that. Again, I'm not saying that this is going to be, oh my gosh, this is going to change gaming, but I'm very excited about kind of the pathway that it is opening up. So, yeah. Maybe we'll do a revisit 6 months from now and say, oh my God, that was a steaming pile. I'm so sorry.
Or maybe we'll have to cancel the show because we're too busy playing Spark every moment of every day.
And we'll have another pivot to all Spark coverage all the time.
It's craziness.
Yeah. Who do you have in your Spark draft?
Oh, God. What if that's really a thing? no one's gonna want me.
No, that will be great for us because it'll be great for the console, which means they will keep coming out. So
yeah, well, hey, you know what? Sometimes there's beauty in simplicity,
Yep.
and with any luck, this will be a beautiful game.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Moving on. My first pick
Yes.
is I think also my favorite pick of this episode,
Okay.
and moreover, my most anticipated PlayStation VR game. Period.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that I've got Resident Evil 7, it's like everything
That's true.
else. Like, that was my most anticipated game forever.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what's my next? This is it. It's called The Persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Persistence is initially looks like a pretty generic first-person sci-fi horror first-person shooter kind of game.
Dead Space, but not so shiny.
Dead Space, but not so shiny.
Yeah.
And the problem is the second you say, oh, futuristic sci-fi PlayStation VR horror game, you go, oh, Siren? And you're like, oh, no, not Siren. Oh, you mean Syndrome? Oh, no, not Syndrome. You know, there's a list of games that sound and look just like this.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, this is a much different game
Yes.
than all of those. And first and foremost, we should probably mention the developer. The developer's Firesprite. And if you're unfamiliar with Firesprite, they created one of our favorite VR games, or helped create, the Playroom VR.
Oh, okay.
So radical departure for Firesprite. This is obviously much, much different.
I just love the idea, like the Firesprite guys are like have two tabs open. One, they're working on the PS. Oh yeah, cute shiny stuff. Are they gone? Okay, great. Gore, death, monsters.
Yeah, absolutely. and so this definitely reaffirms my faith in the project. You know, we have people like the people who make Spark.
Right.
You know, they're well known developers for Eve Valkyrie, etc.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not that the Playroom was like breaking any crazy ground in VR, but it was a solid title, and we talked about it at length about how much we loved it.
They did stuff better than that game than full-on independent titles have not been able to do. So.
If you even mention Mervils, we're gonna take this outside, and it's just all over.
Man, defensive.
I love Mervils.
Defensive much?
Yeah, very, very much about Mervils. Yeah. So the premise of the Persistence. The Persistence is the name of this ship in the future, and on the ship, they go faster than light speed to get out to investigate this black hole thing.
Sure.
And when they get there, they mistakenly run some experiments.
Okay.
And the experiments go horribly wrong, surprise, and turn like half of the crew into like these mutated zombie-like creatures.
Like you do.
They're really strong, like way stronger than they were before they were mutated zombies. Mutated zombies go around and kill the remaining awake members of the crew.
Okay.
Right? There's a bunch of people in cryostasis.
Sure.
Right? And so what happens is once there's only mutated zombies left and then a bunch of sleeping people, the AI, the ship's AI, goes, hey, we should do something about this. Let's wake up the people in cryosleep. But, just one at a time.
Yeah. That's a good plan.
It's like, who created this AI? Do you think there's like power in numbers?
These monsters wiped out the entire crew, and the entire crew is awake and working together.
Yeah.
Let's see what one person by themselves can do. Do you think they're just running a pool with other AIs?
Maybe.
Just see, I got 15 minutes on this one.
Yeah, this is like Gamer in the future. Did you see Gamer?
No.
No, lucky. No, it's not that bad. It's interesting.
Was that you, Bull?
No.
No.
Man, that guy. All right, back on topic. So there's about 100 people left in cryostasis sleep. I'm calling it cryogenic sleep, cryo sleep. I'm just making up names as we go along here.
Yeah, well, they're making up science as they go along, so that's fine.
Perfect. My favorite kind of science, made up. But the weird thing about all the people that are sleeping is that, well, they're not like soldiers, because that wasn't their job on the ship. Yeah. Some are like doctors. Some are cooks. It's like, so they all have these like different...
I'm just the cook.
I'm just the cook. Just different job descriptions, right? And so that like makes some of them better than others at doing different things.
Okay.
But so there's not gonna be a whole lot of fighting right off the bat.
Right.
Because you got a bunch of weak ass crew members being woken up one at a time, and you can't fight against these monsters.
Yeah, and only that, like the only weapon you get is that weird taser like thing that doesn't really do much right off the bat.
Well, and that's the thing is that so there's a lot of stealth at the beginning, and then as you progress, you find weapons.
Yeah.
Now, here's the great thing. The weapons are meant to give you kind of this false sense of confidence.
Okay.
Right? Because you find a weapon, and it's random. It's randomized to how much ammo is in the gun when it's given to you. You don't just find more ammo for it laying around. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, here's an amazing gun. It's got 4 clips.
Yay.
Or something like 4 ammos.
Right.
What's technical term for bullets? Oh, bullets. 4 bullets. We'll go with that. 4 clips. That's not right.
Yeah, clip holds a bunch of rounds, I guess. Is probably the term.
One of the game cats lives in Texas, and he offered to have me over and so I can learn how to shoot a gun.
Yes.
No, they don't let me. They don't let people like me hold guns for good reason. Because I call it. Look at this toy. So, anyway, the point is sometimes you have guns, and you feel real powerful, and then most of the time you just die.
Right.
Every time you die, this cool little rogue-like element goes into place, where you have to you get another character. And you're different. You don't have any of the things carried over from the last playthrough.
Right.
Also, that black hole that you were doing experiments on before this whole hit the fan, it's causing temporal shifts, to use a Star Trek term.
Okay.
I've watched way too much Star Trek recently. And basically...
There's no such thing as too much Star Trek.
The ship gets sort of reinvented every time. So, like, corridors that used to go one way are suddenly going a different way.
Okay.
And so the map isn't the same. Enemy locations are not the same. And so the only thing that gets carried over are these stem cells that you're collecting.
Oh, okay.
So you're collecting stem cells, and those allow for permanent upgrades. Now, I was watching an interview with a developer, and the developer said, so roughly 8 to 10 hours in, you might find yourself 2 to 3 times more powerful than you were at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
Now, that's interesting for multiple reasons. One, because I love the idea of, even though you're a new character, there's like these permanent stat upgrades. That gives me a reason to keep playing, to drive to the overarching stats. You keep wanting to upgrade those. But also, he said 8 to 10 hours in, you might be more powerful. I was like, that gives me hope that this is a long game.
I would say 8 to 10 hours, so that's assuming you're going to be playing for that long.
That's the best part about this, and the reason that's so great is because if you've been following PlayStation VR releases lately, it seems like we're paying premium prices for really short experiences with very little replay value.
Yes.
This sounds like the way it plays, it's got tons of replay value, and it's a long game on top of that.
Yeah.
We just played, recently, like Dino Frontier was like 2.5, 3 hours.
Right.
It's like $30. After that, like Paranormal Activity, it was like 2.5, 3 hours. It's like $30 at the launch sale price of $30, and it's actually $40 once the sale's over.
No.
So add Archangel to the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too much. Like I feel like we've been getting gouged a little bit, and so this sounding like a game that I not only want to play, but a game that's going to last me a while is really reassuring on a couple different levels. And
there's one thing you haven't even mentioned yet. Like, this was actually on my short list of games I wanted to talk about too,
right,
for a totally different reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, survival horror, okay, not my favorite thing. But there's an entire different way of playing this game. You can have in-real multiplayer with this. Other people, and actually I think it's multiple other people, like 4 or 5 other people, can have tablets or I believe even phones that will basically get into the game, be a second screen experience where they are controlling things in the environment. They can open doors, unlock doors.
Send like monsters your way.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So they can
right.
be with you or against you.
Exactly right. Yeah, every action apparently is going to have a point value. Some are negative points or some are positive points, and a situation could arise where it's to their advantage to screw you over, which is, as a lifelong fan of Munchkin games, sounds awesome. So, yeah, Munchkin, yay. It's you don't plug it in. It's a card game.
Where am I right now?
But just the idea, we've talked before in some of our other episodes about, okay, the VR gaming is great, but how do I share that experience with other people in the living room with me? This sounds like a really cool way to do that.
Yeah. It just sounds, everything about this, like procedurally generated for a long, long time was such a dirty word.
Yes.
But for this, this sounds like so much fun.
And it makes sense in the story, too. It's like, okay, it's a ship full of people you're unfreezing, and actually it's kind of an explanation for multiple lives in a game, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. So as a huge fan of survival horror, this is right up my alley, and I'm glad that they found a way to breathe some new life into it.
Yeah. Excellent.
Which means Europe.
Yay, Europe. So let's
Asia.
talk about Europe.
Okay.
Let's talk about Eastern Europe. Let's talk Eastern Europe in 1986.
Wow.
April 26th, 1986, to be specific.
That was a fantastic segue. I'm sorry for even trying to intervene.
Damn it, I'm good at this.
Wow.
So yeah, this is actually, we're talking about, if that date doesn't ring a bell to you, you weren't paying attention to history class, but that's okay.
Who does?
This is, we're talking about Chernobyl Vr. Chernobyl was one of the worst, until the Fukushima reactor event happened, one of the worst nuclear accidents in human history. Over 350,000 people had to be evacuated in the space of a few hours from the area. And what you ended up with was this area of Chernobyl itself and Pripyat. I'm sure I got the pronunciation incorrectly, but that was the city nearest the reactor, totally evacuated and abandoned. Now, there's a very famous game, series of games, Stalker, I believe. Is Stalker? Is that it? Yeah.
That is a game.
Yeah, based in Shadows of Chernobyl and this whole thing. This is not that. This is not a sequel to that. It has nothing to do with that. What this is a recreation of the area. The research team, the gaming team, whatever you want to call these folks. It's funny if you watch the trailer. They say they were doing so much work in there. They actually got the approval to be a research team, so they got access to areas that normally film crews can't get into. And what they've done is gone through and recorded every square inch of the areas that were affected. In some rooms, taking as many as 2,000 photos in a room.
Wow.
They use these rigs of like 30 or 40 different GoPro cameras all hooked up together to create well beyond 360 video of these rooms. The idea is they're setting up a place where you can compare what was happening like the day before Chernobyl happened and the eventual disaster. It went from just being a VR recreation to now kind of an augmented reality. So as you're going through, there are little chevrons that will pull up videos of interviews of people who were there, and it's really concentrating on the folks who are called the liquidators, which were people who went in voluntarily or not to clean up and basically getting themselves massively exposed to radiation while they were doing it.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's not a big shiny like feel good kind of thing, but it is. I think it's important in two ways. One, Chernobyl is something that's really important to talk about. Like, we talk about, it happened in the past. Well, the disaster part of that is still going on to this day. And in fact, a good portion of the proceeds of Chernobyl VR actually go to fundraising for people who are affected by it. But two, and one of the reasons I'm kind of excited about this, it's kind of paying off one of the promises of VR. It's like, I want to be able to explore things and go to places I've never been able to before. And this is there are lots of, you can go on, there's some of the video apps that are on the PSVR. We have these 360 video experiences of, swimming underwater and all that, but it's very low quality. It's kind of neat, but it's all fuzzy and grainy. This seems to be like they wanted to recreate every blade of grass, every little shiny piece of metal. So hopefully it ends up paying that off. And I know the VR experience is a bad word, but I think if it's this in depth to say, no, this is really what it's like to be in this place right now, I think there's a lot of potential there. I'm really excited to see how this works.
You're right. VR experience is a dirty word in especially in the PlayStation VR community because we've been handed over a lot of crap.
Yes.
With the words VR experience attached to it.
Yeah.
Hopefully games like this or experiences like this can start changing what we think of that word and how it's used in our vernacular.
Yeah. Not only that, it's $9.99.
Well,
so the Oculus version is $9.99.
Right.
I haven't seen the price for the PS version because
there's always a console tax because Sony's got to get paid too. So if this is $15.99, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but still, if there's the level of content that they're saying there is, and the level of detail, that's certainly worth it. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not going to come out and say, yeah, you won't need to pay $30 for an hour-long experience of blurry 360 video. But something like this, if they pay off the promise, it's going to be pretty interesting.
And just for clarification,
Yeah.
We on the Midnight Games Cast, the PlayStation VR theater specifically, we watched the trailer for this.
Yeah.
And we went in, I think, not knowing very much about the game behind the trailer or the experience behind the trailer. And now that I know more about it, we had some real big misconceptions on that show.
Yeah.
There was a quick scene with like what seemed like a ghost or a demon of some sort.
Yeah.
And somebody holding a gun.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, that's not part of the final thing. Maybe it was like, we started. Oh, actually, that reminds me. There was a quote I got, and I think this probably could speak to that. One of the developers actually said, "The tragic history of the Chernobyl disaster should not come down to the level of an action game only." So it seems like maybe that, because I watched you guys watching that trailer. And it was funny. I had a different, you guys were watching it and they were like, okay, this looks kind of boring. And then like, oh, there's a lady with ghosts and guns. All right, now I'm on board. And I was like on board before that. And I was like, oh, now I'm super on board. But now I can see if maybe that was just a really early trailer and they were starting to develop the game and thought, you know what, there's better things we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll be totally wrong. We'll be 5 minutes into it and all of a sudden ghosts will jump out.
Holy crap, I can't wait to play this experience. Nice.
All right. So you're on number 2.
Here we go. I'm on my second one, and I think I want to preface this one before I even tell you what the name of the game is. There's a lot of games get a lot of hype before launch.
Yes.
And I think sometimes it's it's for good reasons, and for sometimes it's unwarranted. Yeah. And right now, I really want to believe that the hype for this game is warranted. This is by Multiverse Entertainment. It's called Seeking Dawn. Oh yeah. And the developers are calling this like the biggest VR game of this year. They're comparing it to games like Farpoint and saying it's 3, 5, 10 times bigger. They're throwing out random numbers, which is interesting. But like Multiverse Entertainment doesn't have the pedigree.
No.
They need to be making all sorts of these claims.
Yeah.
So I'm going into this very optimistic, but very cautiously optimistic.
Trust but verify.
Perfect. It's coming to PC VR later this year.
Okay.
Oculus and Vive, but we don't have an exact release date for the PlayStation VR version. They are making it, which is the important part here. They're calling it maybe not a first-person shooter because there's a lot of melee weapons.
Okay.
And a lot of everything. Like first-person shooter makes it sound pretty limited.
Yeah.
In the last few years, first-person shooters have gone from just being Doom and Wolfenstein to being...
The last few years?
I'm old. Give me a break. The last couple decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 2 decades.
Yeah, at least.
That's a couple years.
20, yeah. All right.
Like I was listening to Nirvana just like 5 years ago. That sounds right.
I listened to Nirvana this morning.
I love Nirvana.
Unplugged?
In Utero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite album. Yeah. So, excuse me. So there's a lot going on, and I think you'll quickly begin to understand why I'm a little bit pessimistic. Okay. Because this is a first-person shooter. Yeah. This is a beautiful-looking first-person shooter.
Absolutely. It's gorgeous.
It's about 1 million times larger than Farpoint, apparently.
10 billion times.
But they are asking us to say it's not just about shooting. It's also about, God, I have such a list here. It's about cooking.
Okay.
In crafting.
Okay.
In resource gathering.
So Minecraft.
In base building.
Minecraft.
Defense.
Minecraft.
Loot.
Minecraft.
Weapons.
Minecraft.
Armor.
Minecraft.
An RPG system with leveling. Yeah,
okay.
Take it, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? And I do. It's funny that you mentioned Minecraft because the developer compared it to literally. He goes, we love these kind of games.
Yeah.
He goes, but we love games like Minecraft with all of these elements in it. He goes, but what Minecraft is missing, a story.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I'm not talking story mode. Totally different game. So basically, this is about a 10+ hour game if you just blast through the story. This is a 100+ hour game if you just want to like inhabit this world and
Okay, I was
and
gonna
build
say-
your character and
Yeah,
do the
with
whole
all that
thing.
stuff with the building and the crafting and the mining and all that, and cooking and everything,
Yeah.
and 10 plus hours, that doesn't sound like a good deal at all.
Nope.
No.
No, so you got a nice, solid, possibly concise story, and then a pretty open-ended world to inhabit after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's promising, right?
All right.
Now, the thing is pretty much at this point, anytime you create a new first-person shooter for PlayStation VR, the downfall is that we got a pretty awesome first-person shooter this year named Farpoint.
Yeah.
Came with a pretty cool gun. If you could find it, you'd probably find it by now.
Yeah.
So, to go along with that, this game will have aim support.
Okay.
More importantly, the developers sort of dropped the ball on what Sony could be holding as a little secret. And we're going to call them Move 2.0 controllers.
Ooh.
Now, what we're talking about here is we love the idea of using Move controllers because you get that, you hear your hands in the world.
Yes.
You know? But we don't like the idea of Move controllers because, for the most part, it requires teleportation to travel or some really clunky control scheme.
Yeah.
See Windlands and Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul.
Almost Human? No. What was that god-awful science fiction game?
Loading Human.
Loading Human.
Yep, pretty god-awful.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the control schemes.
Yeah.
Mostly. If we had those Move controllers, so the developers mentioned in an interview that they are going to fully support an upcoming peripheral that Sony has.
All right.
And we all deduced
That-
right away
The
these are
Sony
the
tongue
Move,
switch.
these are the Move 2.0s.
Yeah. Little analog controller that hangs off the front of the...
Yeah, no, I'm following.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is horrible. Horrible. If you're listening to the MP3,
Want to play my game?
yeah. So, going along with the Farpoint analogy,
Okay.
Farpoint was fantastic, right? But it was also very linear, very straightforward.
Right.
Very, here's your tunnel, go from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And there were no jetpacks.
You have jetpacks?
They've got jetpacks in Seeking Dawn.
Okay.
I know. I'm so
on board.
excited for jetpacks because there were so many times in Farpoint where I was like, man, it would just be so cool to have a jetpack. Like, why don't I have a jetpack? Also, swimming and climbing.
Huh.
I know. So ambitious.
Yeah.
So ambitious that I'm like nervous.
It's... Yeah.
Yep. So,
And this is the first time developer?
I mean, they've got another game out there, but it's not to this scale, not to this scope. This
Swing big, guys.
Yeah, this makes me nervous, but I'm very excited for them. They're also just, swinging for the fences here. The campaign is, you can play it fully by yourself,
Okay.
or you can play it with other people. They're also giving us PvP options, at least for the PC versions, 4 to 16 players. We're hoping that we'll get somewhere even close to that number. Even 8 would be amazing for PlayStation VR. Full locomotion, we always need that, or teleportation if you have motion sickness issues, Des. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, the jetpack should be great times.
Yeah, that's going to be... Okay, launch, close eyes, and land. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're getting the impression that this is a very, very ambitious game, something that we should all be looking forward to, well, then yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's on this list.
Right, yeah, we want to see them. I mean, don't get us wrong. We want to see them succeed. We want to see like this scrappy little guy from nowhere come out with this game that's going to blow all the big guys away. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So let's hope for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do it, Sean Murray.
Yay. Hi, Sean.
How's No Man's Sky these days?
Sean doesn't watch this.
No Man's Sky coming along? No,
We figured
Des is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. It sounds like I'm being real negative because I'm just it would be a dream come true if this game was everything it claims it can be.
We've been burned before.
We've been burned constantly. But that's why it's on this list, because we have faith, we have hope, and we want this game to be amazing. So Seeking Dawn, should we?
All right. So we'll do some quick little honorable mentions,
Yeah,
I guess,
sounds
because
good.
we're over.
Fantastic.
So this is super quick. This is Reborn, the Samurai Awakens.
Really?
Yeah. So I know. It looks like a.
Do you watch PlayStation VR Theater?
It looks like hot garbage. I'll be the first to admit that.
Theater.
Theater.
There we go.
All right.
The king has returned.
It's just, I just want this game to be good. I want it to be what it's clearly not. I want a sword game. Just give me a sword game. It looks like Fruit Ninja.
I was just going to say, you don't like Fruit Ninja?
I know, I love Fruit Ninja, but give me a sword game against actual enemies. And, dual wielding, the guns and the lasers. I love everything about it except what it looks like. And we'll probably end up playing there's quick time events. So it's I'm not looking forward to this particular game because it looks like a mess. I'm looking for this type of game. The game I wanted when the Wii came out. And then we're like, yeah, we'll have a lightsaber game. Then you realize, oh, no, we can't have a lightsaber game with this.
You didn't like Red Steel either? What about Red Steel 2?
So, you know what? Take this idea, LucasArts, Disney, whoever's, Disney Digital. Give me a lightsaber game. Give me a sword game. Yeah. That's what I want.
And who knows? This could be good. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, this. You know what? This is early footage too. There's we saw the first trailer for Spark versus what it looks like now. I mean, there's a lot of room for potential. But yeah, so my honorable mention is the Samurai Awakens, not necessarily because for that game, but for that type of game.
Yeah, I hated the trailer, and not because it didn't look like a good game, but because it was so obviously showing us two different things.
Yeah.
It was showing us these samurais jumping and leaping and going all over the arena, dodging, and I was like, there's no actual way that I'm going to do a tumbling jump and land behind the other samurai. That's not a thing. That can't be a thing.
No.
Right? So was that a QuickTime event? Was that just CG intro? I don't know. Yeah. So that's why I didn't like the trailer. Not because it didn't look like a good game.
But yeah, and I was just, that's a cutscene. That's what I'm figuring. Yeah. So yeah, and then I guess
my honorable mention. It's coming out very shortly. Mm-hmm. Actually, September 26th will be the release of Megaton Rainfall. I cannot wait to be a superhero.
Oh right, fisheye lens. Sorry, that probably weirded you folks out. Okay.
Yeah, people think we have really big hands, but it's just the way this looks.
Yeah.
It's not a fisheye lens, it's just perspective.
Actually, he does have very large hands.
Well, I have a very large everything. I was talking about my ego. So, Megaton Rainfall by Penadimensional Games, September 26th. This game's been in development since 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous. Of course, 2012 is being made by one guy, so now Penadimensional is a much bigger team.
Right.
And now it's PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR. First-person superhero game where you get to fly around. You ready to be sick yet?
I am so sick already.
I can't wait to get that sick.
I saw the trailer. I was like, yep, nope, I'm done.
Yeah. They're calling it unprecedented freedom of movement and scale of destruction.
I've heard that before.
Well, from the trailer, see,
the scale of destruction they definitely have. No question.
As a game that started by one guy, and now became something bigger. I'm curious to know what that game was on day one. I'm curious to know what that game was at the end of year 1, year 2, year 3 even.
Yeah.
Because here we are, and we have a game that's being touted as you fly all around the city looking for threats. You have to destroy the alien invaders that are very War of the Worlds looking. It seems like somebody's getting sued. And then
actually, it's in the public domain, so ain't nobody getting sued.
Oh, fantastic! But is the movie in the public domain? I don't think so.
No, the original book is. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So I want to stay far away from that. So you fly around, you're looking to destroy these alien invaders, and you're just flying through all sorts of terrain. There's fields and cities, and you're just moving at really fast speeds. And I'm like, can you just really go wherever you want to in this world? Is that possible? And then later you get to fly up into space,
right?
Fly to the moon, walk on the surface of the sun. I'm like, is that really the amount of freedom? You know what? We should have called this episode "Why I'm Scared of Games Coming Out in the Future." Why I don't believe marketing campaigns.
Well, that's actually good advice there.
But if this game is even remotely close to what they're showing us, I mean, I can't wait to fly around and have superpowers.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you win me over at Superhero Simulator.
Yeah.
Just say that and boom, take my money.
Right. And we have no idea like what the scope of this game is. Is
Yeah.
this a full-fledged $60 game where it's like, yeah, here you go. Here's your big open world. Go fly wherever you want to, Brian.
If it's like the 2-hour superhero experience.
Yeah, or is this like, here's your $20, go fly over there and kill those things now. Did you play the Spider-Man thing?
Yes, that's exactly what I was just thinking about.
So bad.
So you know what Spider-Man does in all of his comics that people love so much? Sit on the top of his roof and just shoot things.
This is why experience is a dirty word.
So yeah.
So those are 6 games that we're really looking forward to for PlayStation VR.
Yeah. What games are you looking forward to?
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Must have been while you were kissing me. I quit.
You quit.
All right, this has gone on way too long. Yeah, definitely let us know what games you're looking forward to. Definitely let us know if you have a better name for Gaming Without Parole.
And is there a game, so we've talked about, we've done kind of the launch titles. We're looking at sort of more current games. Is there a game you want to see the Des and Brian deep dive on? Let us know. Drop a line in the comments there. And yes, I'm working my way up to Resident Evil 7, okay? I'm not quite there yet. I'm getting better, but
that is the ultimate goal of this show. So
that'll be the last episode.
By episode 200, we'll be getting you to play Resident Evil 7, which will then be 3 years old.
Right.
Yep. Alrighty, that's it. This is episode 100. Thanks for going along for the ride. I know some of you guys have gone back and watched some of our older episodes, even pre-Des. For those,
there was nothing pre-Des.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, no, this was actually a really good moment to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
When I started on this, we were like, oh, it'll be nice if we get 1,000 viewers. And now, what are we at today? What was
subscriber-wise?
Yes.
By the time this airs, it'll be about 6,000.
God damn it, that's awesome.
Holy
and
crap.
It's entirely because of you folks. I mean, we put the content out, but you're the ones who tell other people. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
I cry enough on all the other episodes and pour my heart out. I don't need to do it again here.
Well, I don't.
But I do.
So thank you.
I do love you all.
He does.
Yeah. For Gaming Without Parole, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Des.
And we'll see you next week.